Hello and welcome to this tutorial in After Effects. Today I would like to talk about the graph editor, just to go a little bit more in depth of what we were talking about in the last movie, which was controlling the interpolation of the keyframes in a graphical way. In the last movie, we saw how we control the value, the rate of change of the rotation of a layer simply by using the graph editor and controlling the handles. Now I would like to talk about changing actual values, not necessarily the interpolation or the rate of change. So I'm going to go ahead and create a composition. Notice that we started something new here. I'm going to create a composition. I'll make it 1920 by 1080, 29.97 frames per second, and I'm just going to call it Graph Editor Lesson. And there it is. Don't forget that you can zoom in and out by using the mouse scroll wheel. I'm going to create a bar pretty much the same way as I did it last time. I'm going to click and drag, and I want for the anchor point of this bar to be on the left side. So my mouse button is still down. I'm going to press and hold the space bar. That lets me move the bar without moving the anchor point. However, because we changed the preferences before, once I release here, I'm going to get the anchor point right in the middle. So changing the preference to having the anchor point be right in the middle of the shape layer is great if that's what you always want. But sometimes it's not what we want. So let's change it. For that, let's go to the anchor point tool, which After Effects calls the pan behind tool. Its shortcut is the letter Y, as in why not? If you want to change that tool and you don't want to click on it, just press the letter Y. And now you can take that anchor point and you can move it. But, and this is not a lesson on shape layers, let me just warn you, that is not the anchor point of the layer. So I recommend that you do this. Click outside of the layer, then click on the layer, and that will show you the anchor point of the layer. The one that we changed before wasn't the one of the layer, it was the one of the shape, and they are not the same. When we go over shape layers, it'll be a little bit clearer what refers to what. Alrighty, so I moved the anchor point of the layer to the left. I'm going to go back to the selection tool, and I did that by pressing the letter V as in Victor. So here's the selection tool. If you hover above it, it'll tell you what the shortcut is. And remember, it's the letter V as in Victor. All right, so here we go. I'm going to move this layer here, and I'm going to keyframe rotation. So the shortcut to get only the rotation property here is the letter R, R for rotation. I'm going to keyframe the rotation at the beginning, and I'm going to have the rotation be about yay. I'm going to move the playhead to around here, and I'm going to move the rotation or change the rotation value to be about yay. All right? So I'm going to select both those keyframes, copy, and paste, and paste. And remember, things paste where the playhead is. I'm going to now select all of those keyframes. Remember, clicking on the name, on the word rotation does that. I can copy, and now I can paste, and I think that's enough. So I started with just those two keyframes, and now I have a gazillion. I can select all of them, press and hold the Alt or Option key, and I can make them faster. And this is what I have. Not too exciting. It's just going up and down and up and down and up and down. It's still going a little too slow for my taste, so I'm going to make it a little bit faster. And now it should just go up and down and up and down and up and down, and I really like that. Alrighty, I'm going to position my playhead about yay, and I'm going to shorten the timeline. I'm going to do that by pressing the letter N. Notice how this work area got a little bit shorter. Okay, a lot shorter. I'm going to right-click it and go and choose Trim Comp to Work Area. And now my composition is much shorter. This makes it a little bit easier to work with. All right, in the graph editor, this is my value. You can see how it's going from this value, which is 30, to this value, which is about minus 32. If I click on the word rotation, I select them, and now I can change the values. I can have it rotate more, rotate less, rotate faster, rotate slower. I can press and hold Option and Command, which is Alt and Control, and I can do this and see how both of the values come up. What this does is that it lets me adjust the rate, not the rate, but the value of interpolation so that it's less and less and less and less as time goes. And I can do that in a very, very graphical way. So that's what I wanted to tell you with the graph editor, that you can absolutely change the values of your keyframes by going to the graph editor. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.